Hello, and welcome to this video on IX Network App Library. This is Ixia's unified Layer 2 to 7 testing solution. So as we know, the IP network is evolving and becoming more intelligent. Traditionally, we saw that the testing of the network was distinct from the testing of the applications that ran over the network, and the requirements for testing the network were different than with testing the application. But this view is changing. The new view is that the network needs to be tested within the context of the applications that are running over it. So not only do we need to be able to simulate the network, but we also need to be able to simulate the layer 2 to 7 traffic running over that network. A lot of the devices that are becoming more intelligent in the network and requiring a more sophisticated way of being tested include things like home gateways, where the routers themselves in the home are more intelligent and are aware of what the users are doing and are able to adjust and send out the traffic according to priorities. The devices that are collecting the data from the homes at the curb are also becoming more intelligent. Service providers are using these types of devices to provide premium services to their premium customers, as well as to make sure that everyone is getting the service level that they've purchased. Other carriers and other providers are using more intelligent devices out at the base stations where their wireless traffic is entering into the network. These devices are looking for various types of traffic being produced by the smartphones and other intelligent devices running over their network and treating them differently based on rules that they've programmed into those devices. Likewise, the core network is also becoming more intelligent and providing other types of services that were traditionally done by different boxes. Ixia's response to this changing network testing methodology is to create a new feature called App Library. The key element of this feature is that a simplified workflow allows you to add the applications that are interesting to you that can simulate the types of traffics that you are anticipating you will be experiencing in a production network. We have an extensive library of predefined application flows, and that library is growing on a regular basis with monthly releases of new flows and updated flows as the applications that are running in the production network evolve. Finally, we use IX Network's comprehensive real-time stats analysis tools to also analyze your application traffic at the flow level. So let's do a quick demo of how to use the app library. This is the IX Network 710, and our overview gives us the ability to look at our configurations. This is a blank configuration, and we're going to start by creating a new scenario that allows us to generate that traffic. There are a couple of ways to create scenarios. The first way is to just construct them on the fly. So we go in and we add a topology. We can choose the ports that we want to add to our configuration. Then we choose what kinds of interfaces or protocols we want to emulate on those ports. I'm just going to start with a very simple use case and just simulate IPv4 interfaces. And I'm going to create a side that I can send traffic from, and then another side to represent the server who's going to receive that traffic. We refer to these as initiators and responders. Now with IX Network 710, we have these concepts of topologies and the stacked protocols that run over the ports. And as you can see, my ports now are connected. In this particular scenario, I'm just going to be running back-to-back ports. But in the real world, you would configure these ports to connect to your device under test. But the process is basically the same. For this side, I'm going to configure the device to talk to the other port, and the IP address for that port is 101.0.1. And it increments for the interfaces that I'm going to create. In this case, I'm using 10 interfaces to simulate 10 different users generating application traffic. But it's very simple to scale by using these things called multipliers within the topology. So simply by changing the multiplier, it will automatically create the right number of interfaces for me. Now we'll configure the other side to talk to the first port. Once I have my two interfaces configured, I can start the protocols. And now I can see all of my interfaces are up and they're ready to go. So now the next step is to generate my layer 4 to 7 traffic. So in this item, we can set the name of our traffic that we want to be. And then we choose which topologies or which device groups we want to simulate the initiator side. And you can see we have initiators, which are basically like the clients, or example of a web browser, it would be the person running the browser. And we'll choose all of those interfaces. And then on the responder side, we will choose those interfaces to act as the servers. In App Library, we are using what is called a two-arm testing, which means that IX Network is going to simulate both the initiator and the responder side. Once we set our initiator and responder, then we have the ability to go in and choose which application flows we want. There's going to be a lot of flows here, so there are a couple of ways to navigate this that are quite easy. The first is that you can use the filter. So by typing into this, it will filter out and give you just the flows that you want. The second way to do it is as you evolve through your use case, you might find certain flows are your favorites, and you can just pin those to the top. So we'll add that flow by simply choosing it and hitting Add Flow. And it'll automatically add it to our configuration. The other thing we can do is go in here and choose several flows. Say we add 2 more flows. We add those. Now, you can see that the mix here may not be exactly what we want it to be. And we can change these to whatever we want. So maybe we want this to be 50% and 25% and another 25%. And as it goes, it automatically detects whether or not you're having more than you should. So if I change that to 40, I can see I'm exceeding my 100%. There's a couple of ways that you can also set these. If you're interested, you can just hit the Distribute Evenly button, and it'll evenly spread out the mix. Once you've set the mix for your flows, you can then choose which type of objective you want. In this case, we're going to focus on our simulated users, and we're going to simulate 1,000 users. And these mixes, in this context, would be 333 users generating HTTP, 330 generating IMAP v4 traffic, and 330 generating POP3 traffic. In the context of an objective where throughput is the key element, that mix would be more around how much traffic is being produced. So IX Network will automatically adjust the number of users generating the traffic in order to produce the deterministic percentage of throughput that you've specified in your configuration. Now, that's one way to create this flow. Another way is that you can load a preloaded configuration. So you can pick one of the configurations that we provide for you, or you can create your own. In this case, we have one called Enterprise App Library, and if I choose that and hit OK, it'll warn me that I'm going to overwrite what I already have, which is fine. And then I can choose, and it'll automatically have these flows configured with the percentages. So now we finished the wizard. You can also save your own configurations and then pull them up later in other test scenarios. So now we can see that we have our traffic configurations here, and we have all of our settings. We can go in and adjust these as we like, if we want to, right from the grid, or we can just double click on the traffic item if we need to adjust our scenario. Once we have it the way we want it, we can just hit the Run Traffic. It will apply this traffic configuration to the ports in our topologies, and then begin generating the traffic. So now that our traffic is started, we begin seeing our traffic throughput. We're seeing how much traffic is being transmitted by the initiators and the receivers. If we look at the flow initiator stats, we can see what the initiators are producing and what they're receiving. So the traffic is bidirectional in the sense that the initiator creates a command to the responder, and the responder responds with a certain amount of traffic. So the initiator statistics are the statistics that are being seen by the initiator ports. Likewise, we have responder traffic items. What does the server see in effect from the different initiators? So the responders might be seeing traffic from multiple initiators, and so their receive rate is going to be about what the aggregation of the different initiators are. In this case, the initiator responder is 1-to-1, so we see that the RX throughput for the responder is effectively the same as the TX throughput for the initiator that's corresponding with it. Now we only have one port on each side, but if we had other multiple ports, we could use something called our drill down view, would allow us to see on a per port basis how that traffic is being done for that particular flow. So I can drill down into a specific flow and look at how that flow is performing across all the ports that are generating that flow. Also, the port statistics will also have this traffic being shown at the frame rate, at the frame level. Without looking at the different flows, we can still see the layer 2-3 traffic. Another additional key feature about this is that we can generate layer 2-3 traffic on the same topology at the same time as the layer 4-7 traffic. The application library views also support things like the snapshot CSVs. So you can take a snapshot of this view and then save it to disk for later use. So this concludes our application library video. Please contact us if you would like more information about App Library, or if you would like more information about other layer 4-7 testing solutions provided by Ixia. Thank you.